My name is Maya Joy KahNah, and I am a psychic who's on a mission to help everyday people achieve true love. In this video, I am going to be talking about how you can best support your psychic child. The reason I'm making this video is because there have been a lot of children born recently who have spiritual or psychic sensitivities and gifts, and I want to help you to help them to really thrive in this world. During this video, I'm going to be offering 10 tips about how you can best support your psychic child. And at the end of the video, I'm also going to be offering some recommendations of how you can make their bedroom space the most supportive for them as they grow up. So let's get started here with the first tip. So my first tip is to frame your child's psychic sensitivity as a gift. Truly, it is a gift from a higher power, and that's what you want to tell them. There's two reasons why this is a good idea. One is that a lot of psychic children don't realize that they have these gifts. So you can really just help them by just telling them that they have a gift in the first place. The other reason why it's important to phrase their abilities as a gift is because many psychic children think that there's something wrong with them. They may realize that they are different from others, or that they perceive, see, feel, sense things that others do not, and then they can think that it's a negative thing. So you want to just really tell them, you have a wonderful gift, you have a gift from God, you are very special. Those types of things will make a huge difference in your child's life. Tip number 2 is to believe what your psychic child is telling you. Now, I know that it can sometimes seem like your child is in a space of fantasy, and sometimes they probably are actually in that space. However, if your child is truly psychic and they tell you that they're talking to their angels, or that they saw their deceased grandfather in their bedroom, or that they know that someone is lying, or things like that, trust what they are saying to you. In general, give them the benefit of the doubt. If you're walking through the forest and they say, "Mom, look, fairies in the trees," they are probably actually seeing some spiritual beings that are in the forest. They are perceiving things that are very real to them, that can sound very much like fairy tales, that can sound just like the imagination, but most likely are very, very real. And if you want to ensure that your child grows up and achieves their purpose in this world, it's really important to not tell them that things are just their imagination, because what happens is when psychic children are told that what they're picking up on is not real over and over again throughout their childhood, they end up suppressing their abilities, and they end up questioning their sanity and having a lot of issues in adulthood. So in general, give them the benefit of the doubt and believe what they're telling you. Tip number 3 is to provide opportunities for your child to use their intuitive abilities, and then provide feedback when they are correct. It's really important that your psychic child learns how their abilities work, and that they learn what it feels like to get a correct message. And the best way that they can learn at a young age is for you to give them feedback when they're correct. Say you're at a hotel or somewhere with an elevator, and there's a couple different elevators. You can maybe say to your child, "Hey, which one do you think's gonna come down to get us? Which one's gonna come down first?" And then if they get it right, just say, "Great job, you were really good, you predicted the future," or just some sort of positive reinforcement for them. Another example, if the phone's ringing, you could ask them, "Oh my gosh, who do you think's calling?" before you answer the phone, or "Who do you think texted mommy?" or "Who do you think texted daddy?" And if they're right, tell them, "Oh my gosh, you were right. It really was, our Aunt Mary," or whoever the case may be. Say, for example, that they give you a message directly. Maybe you're pretending to be just fine, but actually below the surface you're really stressed, and your psychic child says, "I know that you're really stressed, mommy," or "I know that you're sad," even though you're pretending to be happy. Don't lie to them. I really don't suggest lying to your psychic child. They will know the truth anyway. So let them know, validate them when they are correct. If they bring a message from a loved one who's crossed over or something like that, and it seems right, like if they know something about their great-grandma and they give you that information or something like that, just tell them, yes, you're right, that's so true. This will help them so much all throughout their life to learn how their abilities work and to thrive in the world as a psychic. My fourth tip is to find a mentor or role model for your psychic child. So usually children with psychic and intuitive abilities are usually born into families where at least one other person also has psychic or intuitive abilities. It's not necessarily one of the parents. It could be an aunt or uncle or a grandparent or something like that. But if there's someone in your family who's also very spiritually interested or who also has these abilities, help your child to form a special relationship with that person so that they have some sort of guide for how to navigate in this world with those abilities. If for some reason you don't have someone in your family who has these abilities, it can be a good idea to actually ask for good recommendations of psychics or healers in your community and bring your child to see one of them just to get a little advice about how to use their abilities. Or if you don't want your child to actually have a relationship with a psychic themselves, or you think it's not the right thing, you can go to a psychic yourself with a picture of your child and ask for advice that you can give them directly. That can be very beneficial. Even if you can't afford a reading for your child or you don't have a family member who's psychic, you can find your child a good role model on YouTube, somebody who has similar gifts to them that they can watch online. It is important that they have somebody to look up to who is similar to themselves. That will really help them to thrive, just so they know that they're not the only person in the world with these abilities. My fifth tip is to provide psychic protection. If you have a psychic child or a highly sensitive child, they are going to be 10 times more or 100 times more sensitive than the average person. And they're particularly sensitive to emotional energy. And you really need to take this into account as a parent. You need to make sure as much as possible that you're not exposing your children to negative energies unnecessarily. So for example, if you're planning to have lunch at a certain restaurant and you walk into that restaurant and there's a big fight going on, you should leave. It's better to actually remove your child from that place where the negative energy is than to expose them to that. Because for a regular person, it might just be like, oh, that's kind of unfortunate. But for a psychic child, they are going to absorb like a sponge whatever they are exposed to, and they're going to be aware of deeper motivations within people. So if you have, for example, someone in your family who is some sort of addict or who has a severe mental illness or who is very emotionally unstable, I recommend keeping your psychic child away from that person. I also recommend keeping them as much as you can away from movies that have fight scenes, movies that have violence. There's a lot of pop music that has disturbing messages in it. Even the evening news is really unhealthy for a psychic child. I recommend that you limit your child's exposure to negative energies of all types. My sixth tip is to provide energy clearing. This is probably one of the best ways that you can improve the quality of life for your psychic or highly sensitive child. Regularly clear energies from your home and from their environment. So a couple of really easy ways to do this. One is to add salt to your child's bath. If they're taking a bath, the salt will really help to clear out their energy field. Salt is an amazing purifier of negative energy. If I had a psychic child, I would probably add salt to their baths every single time because it's going to lift their mood and help them to feel better. You can also take a salt shaker and you can create a little bit of like a circle of protection around their bed if they are reporting being afraid when they're in their room at night, or put a little bit of a salt barrier outside their bedroom door, and that will prevent negative energies from coming in their room. Believe it or not, salt is going to be a good friend of yours if you have a psychic child. Water in general is also very, very cleansing of psychic energies. So if you have a psychic child, it's not a bad idea to have them go swimming or to take a bath or even teach them how to just take a really quick shower. All it really takes is 30 seconds under the shower to clean out their auric field and to help them feel quite a bit better. If your child is reporting that they are seeing people or spirits in their bedroom, or if they're having major issues with being overstimulated at school, I really, really recommend smudging your home space to clear negative energies, or even smudging your child. So if you're not familiar with this, one of the best purifiers of energy is actually sage. And here's an example of a sage bundle here that I got at just a local bookstore. They sell sage at most natural food stores. They definitely have it at Whole Foods. They sell it on Amazon, and it's at most spiritual bookstores and things like that. If you notice that your child, when they go out in public, that they come back feeling really drained, or they come back with behavioral issues, it's probably because they're absorbing a lot of energy from other people. In that case, it's essential to smudge them every single day, even though that might sound weird. So I recommend getting bundles like this, and these can cost anywhere from about $3 to $6. And when you get them, you can just cut the string off so that you can use it for longer. Here's an example of a bundle that I did that with. So you can see you get a whole bunch of little sage leaves. Sage is a naturally growing plant that's been used by shaman and energy healers for thousands of years. So once you undo the bundle, this is what you would do to clear energies. You just can take a little piece like this, or use the whole bundle if you want, and you just can light it with a match or any form of lighter, and you just let it burn for a moment and then blow it out. And it's actually the smoke that clears the energy. If your child's having a lot of issues personally, you can take them outside and just run this around their body until they feel better. Or if your child is reporting issues in your home or in their bedroom, things like that, like seeing spirits, etc., when they're away at school or at daycare, again, just take some of the sage and just go around your home with it, and it will clear out any negative energies. Spirits and lost souls can be really attracted to psychic children because they are so open, and smudging your child's bedroom is one of the best ways to keep the spirits out, because it essentially clears any energies that they may be attracted to or attached to. So that's an essential energy clearing practice. Another great way to clear energy for your child or for their bedroom is with frequencies. So you can just go on YouTube and type in energy clearing frequencies or shamanic energy clearing music or things like that, and actually playing those sounds will really help your child. It will help to clear their energy, and it will just help them feel really good and feel really calm. You can play the frequencies in your car or have your child listen to them if they are upset. If you have a little bit more money to spend, you could also get your child's sound bowls or singing bowls, which they can use to create frequencies that will clear energy. You could also get them tuning forks as well. Those are really powerful for helping to calibrate their energy field, but that's not really necessary. Just using salt or using sage or using the frequencies, the music to clear energy, all that will help quite a bit. My next tip, tip number 7, is to make a special space for your child that they can retreat to when they are feeling overstimulated. Psychic children need a lot more time alone than what a regular child would need, and they need this time to clear energies and just to retreat from the world, because one of the biggest issues for psychic children is that they can get very easily overstimulated. Even just having extra family over to your home for a holiday or birthday party can cause your child to feel overwhelmed or overstimulated. Taking them to a sporting event or an amusement park or the grocery store can also make them feel overstimulated as well. And obviously you want your child to integrate into society, but they do need a special space where they know that they can go to and feel calm at any time. I recommend creating a low stimulation space for your psychic child. It doesn't have to be anything special. You could just take a curtain and hang it in the corner of the room, an empty corner, and just tell them that they can go into that space anytime when they're feeling overwhelmed or they need time alone. If you have an empty closet in your house, you could just take the closet and just hang up some Christmas lights inside or some other pretty glow-in-the-dark stars or things like that, and let your child go to that space when they need to. Honestly, even a large box from a refrigerator or something like that has nothing inside or very minimal inside, maybe just a blanket and a couple of crystals or something like that, will help your child. But they have to know that they have a place that they can go to when they are feeling overwhelmed, where they can be alone, because psychic children, when they're upset, they need to go be by themselves. And when a psychic child is feeling really overstimulated, they need to be in a space that has nothing. So they need to be in a space where there's not any furniture. Furniture holds energies. Where there's not any toys, where there's not any books, where there's not any electronics. They need to just be in their own energy. So even if you're just taking a large tub or a box or something like that and you put it in a bathroom or in their room or something, that's fine. That's actually great. It doesn't matter what the space is. It just matters that they have one. If you're able to create a special space, I think that using some curtains or a room divider to make a space in a corner of a room can be really good for your psychic child, or if you trust them, even something that's on a porch or has a little bit of access to nature can be good as well. Tip number 8 is to adapt your child's diet and products that they consume. Psychic children are more sensitive to everything, including the food that they eat and the products that go on their body. When I was a child, I was so sensitive to sugar that if I ate something really sugary, sometimes I would try to do backflips off the table and stuff like that. I was just so overstimulated by sugar and chemicals in my food. To this day, I have tons of sensitivities to preservatives, chemicals, gluten, sugar, and as an adult, I've learned to remove all these things from my diet. But children don't understand what's happening to them. They don't understand why they feel fine and then eat something and then they feel out of control, for example, or depressed, for example. So you kind of have to use a process of elimination or experimentation, but pay very close attention to how your children react to certain foods. And if there are certain foods that they eat that cause them to be really ungrounded or hyperactive, you should remove those foods from their diet, especially sugar. Psychic children can get easily addicted to sugar because it just causes them to feel really good. I really recommend eliminating sugar from your psychic child's diet. Of course, if they go to a birthday party, that's one thing, or if they get it as a treat at school, but sugar should not be a regular part of your psychic child's diet. I really recommend replacing candy and sugary substances. Dried fruit can be a really good treat for your psychic child. Smoothies can be a really good treat for them as well. Lots of ripe fruit, things that have a sweet taste without having processed sugar in them. It's also really common for psychic children to have food sensitivities, especially to nightshade vegetables and to gluten. So you may want to try experimenting with your child until you find the foods that help them to feel the most balanced and most grounded. Generally, psychic children are going to thrive on a diet that is very natural with a lot of grounding foods. And they will usually do better with warm foods rather than cold foods. So even just substituting some oatmeal in the morning rather than dry cereal could be really balancing. Things that grow in the ground like potatoes and squash and yams and carrots, those types of things tend to be really grounding. If you can afford it, buy natural body products for them as well, because psychic children are going to be a lot more sensitive to dyes and perfumes that are in their shampoo or in their bubble bath, and it can cause them to be out of balance. So especially if you have a psychically gifted child that's having behavioral issues, you will find that they improve greatly when you clean up their diet and the products that they are exposed to and the products that are in your home as well. My 9th tip is to give your psychic child a special friend that they can connect to. If your child has psychic abilities, they are probably aware that plants have consciousness, crystals have consciousness, and animals have consciousness too. So you could actually really improve the quality of your child's life by getting them a pet if you're able to. And if you can't add a pet to your family, you can even just get them a plant that they really like and have them keep that plant in their room. Have them water the plant. Plants are very spiritual in their energy. A crystal can also be a special friend. Crystals emit vibrations and have a consciousness of their own. Even a small crystal like this one can be really good as a special friend for especially a young psychic child. You can take them to a crystal shop and let them pick out a crystal that they really like and just remind them that if they're feeling overwhelmed or like they need a friend, they can just rub the crystal, maybe keep it in their pencil case or something like that if they're school age. That can really improve their life. My final tip for raising a psychic child is to encourage them to develop a healthy outlet for their energy at a very young age. And some healthy outlets could include any sort of creative hobby, like painting, coloring, drawing, singing, acting. Anything creative will usually really appeal to them. Anything that connects your child to the earth is also a really healthy activity for them. For example, growing a garden could be a really, really beneficial activity for them. Walking or hiking in the forest, that's a really good hobby for a psychic child as well. Some psychic children also really like meditating every day and just fall into that really naturally. So if you're interested in meditation or yoga, it would be a great idea for you to get started and to include your child in those activities. Some psychic children also really like divination tools, and they like to work with oracle cards, for example. I have a deck here that is made for children. This is the Magical Unicorn Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. This is for a little bit older of children, maybe 7, 8, and onwards from there. And the cards have beautiful messages here, like about sharing and about using their imagination. These are really good for slightly older kids. Doreen Virtue also makes an oracle deck for young children that has a smaller card size, and I believe it's called the Cherub Oracle deck. So I hope you have enjoyed these tips for best supporting your psychic child. I want to end the video by talking about some recommendations for your child's bedroom. Here are some principles for setting up a really good bedroom for your psychic or spiritually gifted child. First, remove all electronics. It can be tempting to want to give your child an iPad to use in their bedroom or a TV, but these electronic energies are really upsetting to the auric field of your child. So get all electronics out of your child's room if you possibly can. I recommend making your child's room very, very minimalist. Less is more. Having nothing in the bedroom except for a bed and a little nightstand could actually be really good for your child. It will just help them not to feel overstimulated. So take out anything from the bedroom that is not necessary. Any art that's unnecessary, any toys that are unnecessary. Don't use your psychic child's bedroom to store your old antiques or your things from college or things like that, because they're going to be sensitive to the energy of every single object. Antique furniture especially often has spirits attached to it, and you may have no idea this is going on. You might not be able to see or sense the spirits that are attached to that beautiful dresser that you got for your child, for example, but they can be really haunted by those spirits. So I really recommend just getting simple furniture, new furniture if you can afford it, or if you get old furniture, to actually smudge it with sage. I recommend putting a protective crystal on your child's nightstand. Something of this size would be very good. I would select a crystal based on what they are reporting to you. If your child seems really balanced and happy, a larger moonstone could be really beneficial for them. Moonstone will help them to have more positive dreams, and it will encourage their creativity. If your child reports sometimes seeing or feeling things in their bedroom that are uncomfortable, I recommend putting a large smoky quartz on their nightstand or somewhere near their bed. And if your child is reporting a lot of nightmares or feeling very unsafe in their room or seeing ghosts or spirits, I recommend that you put a very large raw black tourmaline on their nightstand, or as large as you can actually afford. The crystals are going to be very, very powerful for your children. I also recommend getting your child a salt lamp if you can afford it. Here's an example of a salt lamp that I have. These are so common. I think they even sell them at Rite Aid and Walgreens. You can get these almost anywhere these days, but salt lamps are amazingly powerful for clearing negative energies, like the kind of energy that they might have if they have a nightmare or things like that. So this is definitely a good investment. I also recommend maybe keeping a picture of an angel in your child's bedroom, or a religious figure that they're familiar with, some sort of image of someone or something that is near their bed to help to protect them and just tell them, you know, oh, that angel's watching over you when you're in your room at night, or things like that. Again, if your child often feels overstimulated, it can be a good idea to get some sort of ambient noise machine for your child's bedroom. I think that there are a lot of different varieties of these that play nature sounds or ocean sounds, or even play silence. If your child is reporting that they hear voices or things like that in their room, especially, then I would recommend getting like a little water fountain, like a desktop fountain, and putting it somewhere in their room, or getting an ambient noise machine. And finally, if your child is reporting that they see things in their room, I really recommend encouraging them to sleep with an eye mask. That might sound strange, especially for a child, but I will say personally for me, eye masks absolutely changed my life once I started wearing one. Before I started wearing one, I was afraid to open my eyes at all during the night when I was a little kid, because every time I opened my eyes, I saw spirits all around me. And granted, I did grow up in a haunted house, and not everyone lives in a haunted house, but it was horrifying. I really wish that I had known about eye masks when I was a little kid, because that just makes your child more comfortable to know that if they wake up in the middle of the night and they open their eyes, that it's okay. They're not going to see anything scary, and it will just help them to be able to be more calm when they're actually sleeping. So this is the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed my tips for supporting your psychic child, and just know that if you brought a psychic child into this world, then it is because you have the skills as a parent to best support them. If you are the type of parent that actually is watching this video, God bless you. Your child is very, very lucky, and I wish you the best. Thank you for watching this video, and namaste. Bye.